So we're like, we need to understand what it's going to be like to do that. And it was kind of going back and forth with the kiddos. They were getting used to our dogs as well. And I tell you, just looking at our dogs, being friendly with others, and they were licking them. And it was just the smiles. It was Sweet Licks. And we're like, you know what? This is it. It's Sweet Licks Barkery. And it was an evolution from there. And I'll remember being in the kitchen, and our first one was bacon with oat flour, like bagel things that we would make. It was just a concoction of just stuff that we thought we were going to do. And then so we thought we'd do some more research, more science-backed research. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. And so my diet changed. I started going through grain-free, started going through whole foods. And the relatability of a dog's gut to a human is there's a lot of similarities. And so we started putting that information into our treats. And so that's where it's just become to an evolution of where we're at today.
Welcome to the McKinney Podcast, the show that celebrates what makes McKinney unique by nature. This podcast exists to spotlight the people, the organizations, and the events that shape our great city. You can count on every episode to tell a compelling story and help increase your awareness and perspective on what's happening around McKinney. Your hosts for this fun-filled adventure are Fred Mahusay, owner of FredShots Photography, and James Jenkins, CEO of RiskWell. Connect with us on YouTube and on our website, McKinneyPodcast.com. Now, let's get into it.
And welcome back to this next edition of the McKinney Podcast, where we celebrate what makes us unique by nature, showcasing the finest, the brightest, and the best that we have right here in our community. And today we are joined by Greg and Shoanette Harper with Sweet Licks Barkery. Sweet Licks Barkery. That's right. You did not hear that incorrectly. Do not Q-tip your ears. Sweet Licks Barkery. So welcome to the show. And thank you so much for coming out here. So, okay. Your t-shirts say the treat dealer. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So before we get into that, tell us some basic things. Like, did you meet here in Texas? How did you come together? And, and then we'll run up to that. So let's start with you, Mr. Greg.
Yeah, absolutely. I was born and raised in Dallas. Pretty much all my life. I've only lived for 1 year outside of Texas in Seattle, and that's where our OG, Lucy, comes in. We'll talk about her in a little bit. But I went to...
Yeah, lean up just a little bit there. Here you go.
All right. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay. I went to school in downtown Dallas. My parents worked in around downtown Dallas, and I was raised in Forney, out in the country. So I had kind of the best
of jackrabbits.
Absolutely. Oh. I had the best of both worlds, being able to have a country boy in the evenings, but a city boy during the daytime. And then after I graduated high school, I went on to college, and that's where I met the love of my life over here, Shoanette.
Right. So what college was that?
That would be UNT.
UNT. All right. We've had a streak of UNT grads, but it kind of makes sense because we're in the area. All right, Miss Shoanette. And for those of you who check the show notes and look, SHOANETTE.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, listen, I always come out as a surprise. I come out as a bang. I was actually supposed to be a Sean Patrick O'Neill, so I was a bit of a surprise to my mom when we came out. So the Shoanette was kind of on the fly. So we always talk about how she came up with the name. But born in Dallas, raised in East Texas, but came back to Frisco when it was super small. So I knew Frisco when there was about 4,000 people in the whole town. High school and middle school were combined. So to see all of this progress has been just incredible, even from seeing McKinney to grow what it is today when we first got the first movie theater. But Greg and I, like you said, we met in Denton. We actually met at a club through friends. And so we were, he left the fun part out. But we met there, had a great conversation. Fast forward 6 months, he was rocking a pager. I paged him. I said, hey, I'm in Denton. He's like, guess what? I am too. So we ended up hanging out as friends. And 6 months later, we knew we had to be married. And 2 weeks after that, we were, he proposed and we were married out in Lake Grapevine. And it's been 26 years of an adventure since then.
So she paged you.
I was memorable.
All right, pounder right there, brother. Look at that. Bam. Look at this. He got the hot one to reach out to him. Excellent. Okay. And so you dated briefly, married immediately. And what degrees did you matriculate from that fine institution with?
Oh, his poor parents. We actually did not finish any of the schools there. I didn't actually go to UNT. I was just there. I had moved out of my house. I was
girl.
I was going through my little bit of a rebellious stage and moved out with my friends. And I was like, I think, let me just see what Greg's doing. And then he was in college. So he ended up not finishing college.
What were you studying?
Visa and MasterCard.
Student debt. It's like, I only got money to go out. Let me just swipe it. Yes. James and I were having an offline discussion about why is it that 99.99999% of young men in college and after college excel at debt. So when you weren't perfecting plastic in servitude, indebted servitude, what were you like opening books for?
Yes, actually, I was studying to be a photographer myself.
Yes, rock on.
It was an amazing experience, and then I got into IT at a young age. My parents had gotten me a computer, so I was rocking BBS boards back when the dial-up days of 1444.
Yep. Listen, man, a 14.4 modem was nothing to sniff at until the 56s came out, or the 28.8s rather.
28.8s were hot.
The 56s, yes, I remember. I grew up through that. I'm Asian. In case people in the audience there don't know, I'm Asian. So all things techie and shiny things definitely appealed to me, and I think I was the first to get a 2800 baud modem, and I was the cat's meow. It didn't make a difference though in a totally text-driven world. It ran exactly the same, but I swore when you heard that that it just sounded faster, twice as fast.
It did.
No.
I wonder if they changed the frequencies on the 56.6.
Yeah, they probably did just to throw you off. So you started off in photography, got distracted by technology.
Yes.
Okay.
So Visa and MasterCard, I had to do something about those degrees that I had earned.
Yes, the parallel degrees. Yes.
So I got into IT, working my way up through IT support help desk for some amazing early adoption software as a service companies. And I've been working through database administrations for backends and eventually becoming the lead IT director for the oil and gas company.
Yeah, excellent. And you said you just didn't run away from home, but got some emancipation amongst yourself and your friends and decided to camp out around Denton. Why Denton? So that means you're a Frisco High School raccoon.
I am.
Class of
98.
98. Wow. And now Frisco ISD has 12 high schools.
I can't even believe it. We were the first, the high school off of the Toll Road on Stonebrook, I think is the one it was. I think we had 92 people out of our graduating class. It was so small. It was under 100 people. And I look at it now and it's just unrecognizable to see the growth.
It's a 5A school now.
We were 2A. I mean, the high school and middle school were combined. So I remember just being able to be a middle schooler in like geometry and some of the honors classes, and you'd see high schoolers and you just felt so grown up. I'm like, oh yeah. I'm in 7th grade and there's high schoolers, running around. You just feel like you're something. But no, I went back to college late in life. We started, getting married young. We've always just flown by the seat of our pants. Very scrappy, very entrepreneurial kind of mindset. Mm-hmm. So when we got married, got into our first jobs, and
so what were you doing? So he's now managing IT for oil and gas. Yep. What are you doing?
So goodness, what was I doing back then? I was working at Starbucks. I was managing Starbucks. I worked at the one at Parker on the Toll Road. And so did that for a little bit and then went on to work for a pool company doing some operations, and then actually landed. We were both working at the same company for about 10 years, which is the oil and gas company that we were working with. And so as I was leading that company, we had a lot of ups and downs. I was able to work my way up to running the company as their chief operations officer. And I was like, I'm a young executive. I probably need to go get my degree to merge the two. So then I become, in the field, you take the education along with my experience, and it just becomes more cohesive. So I went to Southern Methodist University, finished out my executive MBA there. which was a phenomenal experience. The people I went to school with was really the experience it was about, because it didn't teach a lot about small business, but it did do a great job of networking, put you in with the right people. And so that was great. That was my first international trip, actually. So that was fun. And then fast forward from there, just kind of been in and out of different experiences. I've always been an experiential person. So if it's something that I'm truly not passionate about, it's hard for me to stay with it.
Sure.
So if I lose my heart, it's just like, okay, what's next? What's next? So I have not had a linear career path. And some of it's just the way my brain works. I'm adult ADHD diagnosed, and really was thankful to get that diagnosis, because then it helps me understand how I'm functioning, why I function the way I do, why I'm all in, why I'm, just ready to go at everything. So that was a fun path, just understanding myself as I've gotten older. So that's been an education in its own.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to say, I flippantly throw around ADHD, not as a negative thing, because, I find that there are many things that catch my attention, and I'm just so intrigued by it. I love life itself, and that every day, can be any number of adventures. It's like a choose your own ending storybook, but someone else is doing the choosing. Sometimes I can say, I can, pick up the cupcake, or I can, do whatever. But I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, I'm passionate here, and then later on, I'm passionate there. Obviously, as grown adults, we need to be somewhat stable, or in a position where it's okay to shift your focus. But I believe that life is too short. Life is way too short to be doing things that you have no passion about. That's a job. That's what I call a job. And I've clocked jobs. And it's fine, because if they pay, because we need money. That's the bottom line. We need money to just live. But at the same time, if you can find what you love to do and get paid for it, man, that's the magic right there. That's cupcake plus frosting plus sprinkles. And so you're both working for the same company, and somewhere in there, who had the pet? Who had the first pet?
Well, we actually, our first kiddo, we call them kiddos because we don't have any human babies, but our first one was a cat, and we found her at one of the apartment complexes we were living in. She was an only cat, wasn't going to have anything to do with having any other pets, but we had the opportunity to move to Seattle, and I say opportunity, we went there, loved it, and said, hey, we're moving. And so a month later, we were on the road, and we were U-hauling it all the way up there, and our job allowed us to do that as well. So that was a lot of fun. But we thought we nested a little bit and said, hey, what if we have a kid? And we're like, we're both only children. And we didn't grow up with any family having siblings either. So we're like, we should probably understand what responsibility is. And we thought we'd go adopt a dog.
Sure.
So we went to Humane Society, and that was where we found Lucy. And
the OG.
The OG. So we stood outside, and it was in February. It was 20 degrees outside, just waiting to go in. And they opened the doors, and she chose us, really. And it was great because we made the front page of the newspaper. We were going to look at a townhome. And Greg and I go into a townhome, and the real estate agent goes, I know you guys. I'm like, we must just look familiar. You don't know us. And he's like, no, I know you. And he's like, hold on. And we had Lucy with us because she was so small at the time. And he brings out the newspaper, and we made front page of the newspaper for the most adoptions that year. And they had their first kiss. We still have it at the house. And her eyes are closed, and his eyes are closed, and she's just looking at his face. And it was just the cutest. And so that was the most memorable. So that was our first kiddo. And it's just been one after the other from there. They're all rescues from all parts of life. We've got Seattle, we've got Mexico, we've got, Dallas. We've got them all over the place.
I love that. And so, and so for the people going, why do you keep on calling her the OG? And they agree, because if you go to the Sweet Licks Barkery website, I think it's in the About Us.
It is.
Yes. They have Lucy on there as the OG. And Boston Terrier, or?
We do. We have our Boston Terrier. She's actually our Deafy. We got her from North Texas Boston Terrier Rescue Group out of right here out of the area. And She's our little Phoebe. She's goofy and resilient and tenacious. She'll just pick up and do anything. So we had to name her Phoebe off of Friends.
There you go.
Very much.
She's just,
But wait, wasn't Phoebe the smelly cat one?
She was, but she was always great. She never let anything get her down, just didn't matter. And like,
Or is that because she was blonde?
Probably.
Okay.
I guess that
Nothing
was
against
it.
blondes. My wife is blonde, so And then Tito and Daisy, what breeds are they?
Oh, yes. Tito is our little Chihuahua. He was actually rescued down over by Harlingen, Texas, and flown up to Dallas, transferred up to Dallas on the Southwest Airlines Animal Transport SWAT program that they had, where we picked up and adopted him. And then Daisy came along a little bit later on.
At a vet clinic.
At a vet clinic, we were actually taking Phoebe in to get one of her sarcomas removed. Thankfully, no cancer for that one. And while we were down there boo-hooing, we saw advertisement for Daisy, and we were just like, you know what? Let's get another dog.
So y'all are just the dog suckers. That's what it is.
Suckers.
You're just suckers, or you've got Doolittle in your genes, right? It's like Dr. Doolittle, and then there's Greg and Shoanette. Yeah. Oh, that's great. So things are humming along. You decided to give yourself a test run on two-legged children by pulling up with a four-legged child, and decided that we're great dog parents, and that's where you are. Where did Sweet Licks Barkery come into the picture?
It was truly with our little Lucy. So I'd finished my executive MBA and writing out a business proposal for something else, and I'd opened up a bag of treats, and it smelled so horrible that I was like, I cannot give this to my kiddo. And I always call them kiddos, but we had already went through infertility and other things and found that was just not going to be in our life path. But through all that, I digress, but I have to say it was just very interesting going through that stage because it opened up. They found a mass in my uterus. We got that out. We wouldn't have found it without going through infertility.
Amen.
So I look at it as my life was given back to me by going through it. So even though I don't have human kiddos, I don't feel like I lost anything. Mm-hmm. And then we got into CASA because we thought we were going to adopt.
Sure.
And so we're like, we need to understand what it's going to be like to do that. And it was kind of going back and forth with the kiddos. They were getting used to our dogs as well. And I tell you, just looking at our dogs, being friendly with others, and they were licking them. And it was just the smiles. It was Sweet Licks. And we're like, you know what? This is it. It's Sweet Licks Barkery. And it was an evolution from there. And I'll remember being in the kitchen, and our first one was bacon with oat flour, like bagel things that we would make. It was just a concoction of just stuff that we thought we were going to do. And then so we thought we'd do some more research, more science-backed research. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. And so my diet changed. I started going through grain-free, started going through whole foods. And the relatability of a dog's gut to a human is there's a lot of similarities. And so we started putting that information into our treats. And so that's where it's just become to an evolution of where we're at today.
Mm-hmm. So, no, I don't believe I asked this question. Did you actually try any of the dog treats?
All of them.
All of them.
They are all human grade ingredients. We have, because even as a cook myself, so we both love cooking. He is my Sicilian, and so I'll come home and he'll make our pasta from scratch. He'll make sauce from scratch. I mean, we can't go eat Italian food anymore. If anybody's like, hey, you want to go? I'm like, anything but Italian, because we're going to have that at home. But I'm always like trying our food. So I can't give something to my dogs that I haven't tried either. And it's with it all being human grade ingredients. We actually wanted to, first evolution was kind of called a shareables. But then we're like, how many people want to go to a place where you can share that food with dog food? Yeah. So we thought, probably not a good idea.
I'll go home with a doggy bag, and I'll eat it. Or, if I deem it being, oh no, it's refrigerator ruined, it goes to the dog.
Right.
But actually going, this is something, me and Fifi and Fido can have together. So if two-leggeds were to ingest some of your treats, they're perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine.
Okay, perfectly
Absolutely.
fine. And so you said he's the Sicilian. Does that mean I shouldn't cross you, right? Because Sicilian things.
Don't mind the men in the black suits outside.
Oh,
I'll make you an offer you can't refuse. Godfather reference, just in case no one knows there. So you decide, we're gonna crank out our own treats. Did you already have you said executive MBA? Mm-hmm. Do you believe that when you started to make your own treats for your dogs, that you already had a business plan in mind for launching this, or is this I'm just not gonna bother store buying things and just treat my dogs on my own? Did you see this as a long range plan?
No, it really wasn't, because when I finished my executive MBA, I had wrote a business plan to do a DOT safety online. We were doing a lot of logistics and a lot of trucking, and so
those go hand in hand, right? Trucking and treats, they both begin with T.
Yeah. So we were just like, no, absolutely not. But it was more of just a passion driven, and I think a few months after, that's when it's like, we can do something with this. And going back,
So you went to Greg and said, hey, we can do something with this.
I think we can do something with this.
Because he's still oil and gassing things,
right?
Okay.
So
that didn't sound correct. Oil and gassing things.
Okay. Hey, we're oiling all sorts of stuff in the house.
Keeping up with their 28.8 modems.
That's right.
But
so you put together the prospectus?
I did put together a great kind of marketing plan, business plan, put together an executive profile so we could get a small business loan. And there's a lot of capital expenses that go into buying a freeze dryer. So
sure,
and most of them are used at the time in pharmaceuticals.
You're not going to Best Buy and putting that on the 12-month.
Right.
12-month payment plan card, right?
No.
Not any no interest there. So, and most of them, like I said, you get into these, it's a lot of pharmaceuticals, it's a lot of high end. So you're upwards in, a lot for capital expenditure. We actually found a company out of New York that made them and worked with us to do that. So that was exciting to be able to find someone within a range that we could work with, put our small business loan in place, and then right after we got it delivered, it was delivered on its side. And I was in a major car accident at the same time. And so that got put on hold for surgery and then having to fix that. And then COVID happened.
Yes.
So then we had to ship it back to New York. Then they were shut down because they were impacted a lot more than we were. 2 years they had our machine. So we were just like, okay, we'll work, we'll keep going. And that's just how much we believe in what we're doing though. And so we bought a small, like we call it an R&D freeze dryer. So we bought a small one. And we continued to develop our treats and our recipes and do more research and get more information from veterinary scientists. And how can we make this even better? And when my diet changed also, we took those same things. Well, if I'm eating superfoods, can dogs eat them? Is it good for them? Does it do anything for them? Or is it just a name that we're putting on a label? So just really understanding how that digestive system works as well. And so it was very, very just informative for us to understand. And it really humanized our kids even more.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, okay, so you go to the specialist, the vets, and and you're strictly canine, right?
Right now we are, but we have a cat treat coming out that is being rated right now through AFCO. So
okay, and what is AFCO?
That is, you probably know what the acronym is, but it's
the American
Association of Food and Dog. They manage and regulate all of our dog food. So you go and get a guarantee analysis. And I tell you what's crazy is being in farmers markets right now. I go off on another little tangent, but we all of your dog treats have to have the ingredients listed. You give them guarantee analysis.
Yes.
Human food at farmers markets do not.
No.
You don't even have to put the ingredients on it. So, and that's another, it's just interesting to look at the dynamics there and how much our dogs really do, mean a lot to us and to other people as well. So you get to have all of that information on it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you that it's amazing all the restrictions and guidelines that happen until you hit the farmer's market. And the number of times that, I haven't been to a ton of farmer's markets, but, I don't know where you bake this, this cupcake, but it sure smells good, or these cookies. I'll have one. I don't want to think twice about it, but I'll go to the grocery store and, I'll pick up a thing of yogurt and I'll look, okay, so this expires May 29th. And then I start playing this expires June 3rd. I put that one back and grab this one and keep on going. And so... But that's good to know that, so it's your treats are certified.
They are.
I was about to say they're accredited, but they're certified. That's good. So you can hang in the space with Purina and all the others because you're meeting the same guidelines and standards that they are, except that you're actually using real food.
Human grade, and that's where we're exceeding
human grade.
I would say the only thing we can definitely hang in the same arena, but I would say that we're exceeding because of specifically we wanted to use human grade meats, just without getting into the details of where things come from. But if you don't understand where those meats are coming from, it's outrageous to see where animal food can be derived from.
Sure. Well, human food. We had Matt Hamilton, who's with the local yokel and the Augustus, and all of that. And he was, have you ever met him?
I think what he does we did the Steak 101 class.
Yes, that's Matt.
Yes.
The very same. He is country. You talk about, you think you've got, he's got an accent.
Yes.
And the first time I met him, in my career, and my space as a photographer here, primarily in the McKinney area, I've met a lot of people that I had no idea who they were. And then I went back, years later and was looking at photos and I was like, oh, look, and it happened actually less than a year ago. Someone needed an old archived photo. So I was digging back, like old DJs digging through record crates. I'm going through these old photos and I was like, oh, look, it's Mayor Lockmiller. Back when I had no idea who he was. And oh, look, it's Chris Hill. And it's, and I was, all these people that I'd photographed and met, I was like, I had no idea who they were until years later. And I was like, oh man, that was kind of a big deal. But, with Matt Hamilton, when we had him on the podcast, he was talking about, because he serves up, choice meats. But he was saying that some of the genetic testing that's been done on some restaurants, we'll leave them nameless. He name dropped them, so go back and check it out in the previous episodes if you want to know. But he name dropped them, and he said that they were showing genetic contribution from thousands of sources. Where you start to question: is this even meat anymore? It's a meat product of some nature. It might look and act like it, but content wise, what is the value of this product? He said you don't really know. So that's good to know that you are. So how do you source that?
So
human grade.
Human grade. So we have, and you can probably go into our sourcing more than I do. I know we just picked up our salmon. We're making our salmon treats, and we source that from Seabreeze out of right here out of Plano. Well, we're in McKinney, but that's a fish market out of Plano. And then we had actually talked with local yokel as well. So we're working with our local butcher shops as well. And then we also buy organic. And one of our newest meats is kangaroo. So that's going to be an interesting one coming out. That's going to be for very sensitive bellies. So you get into novelty meats and such. And
kangaroo is good for sensitive bellies.
Very good. You introduce a lot of these novelty meats that dogs haven't seen before,
so
and you have those high allergens.
Trigger the inflammation.
Exactly.
Yes.
Interesting. Now, have you tried kangaroo meat?
You could at Twisted Root Burger. They had kangaroo burgers and they had bison.
But isn't that just a name?
You think it is.
It's like go to Burger King and get the big Whopper. So this is Whopper meat,
right?
I know I've seen it there. Actually, Twisted Root was over in Allen. I don't know if they're there anymore, but I would go there and and I just thought those were just unique names for things to get kids to like, Mom, Dad, let's go get the kangaroo burger. So it was kangaroo meat?
Kangaroo meat.
Oh man, I don't know if I should be amazed or shocked.
It's interesting. I mean, you think globally how many people eat diverse meats than what we do.
Oh, sure.
And so so it's very odd to say that we're going to have a kangaroo treat, but even just going into Hawaii and people eat a lot of goat, or you have a lot of things like that we don't traditionally eat a lot of, or you go to an Indian restaurant, you see more of that goat. And that was another one we're thinking about putting on the menu. But with this being Texas, you can't get away from beef. And even though goat is a lot more nutritious,
cow is king.
You got to have the cow on the menu. So we do keep our grass-fed beef on there, but yeah.
So how does the Sicilian feel about kangaroo in the treat?
It's a little strange working with it, but I'm excited about it because of the benefit that it's going to be able to offer for a lot of dogs out there with sensitive bellies. We're trying to perfect our treats even a step further, which is what our new lines are coming out with, so that we can service some of those that are susceptible to more pancreatic issues or the sensitive bellies.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully this is going to give them an opportunity of another option so that they can have their treats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if you just sit around and go, that'd be a good base meat. You know, my wife and I took a trip to Costa Rica, and there are iguanas all over the place, you know, in the trees and all, you know, as a matter of fact, they call it the chicken of the trees.
Yes.
You know, when they said that, I was like, I mean, it tastes like chicken. And the guy that I was talking to was like, I don't know. I've never tried it. It's actually illegal to consume iguana in Costa Rican standards law. You can't do that. But whatever the neighboring country is, they said they eat it all the time. And I was like,
yeah,
you know, but you know, that's from my very, very, you know, standard American cuisine palate.
Exactly.
So it doesn't make any sense to me to do that. So so there's no real, you know, base that you start with of you just sit there and look at the health nutritional value and the science behind it and say this would go well with whatever. But don't dogs basically eat everything?
You know, most dogs do, and that's why it's not a meal. And I think meals require such a different perspective. So if you're looking at a dog meal and you're looking at 50 to 60% meat, we are blending our treats. So these are truly treats that you can give throughout the day. So there's no grains, there's no fillers. In your foods, you're probably going to have some of those because they do need their carbohydrates. They need the vitamin Bs. But we actually go in and say, okay, what is, number one, can we get organic? If it's going to be organic, what is it going to be? If it's going to be wild caught, like we're adding in wild boar, where are we sourcing it from? Is it a clean source? Why is this a better protein for them? And a lot of times your wild meats, and actually iguana was on the list, but again, the reaction, cricket is on the list. But again, we wanted to come up with Sweet Licks Gone Wild. So we thought, no, that might not go over well.
I've never seen a dog go after a cricket. So I'd have a hard time with that one. But pretty much, you know, I've seen dogs chase everything else. Frog.
Oh, yeah.
You know, lizard. So I imagine iguana, you know, falls in a really big lizard. You know, so you just... You know, Sweet Licks Gone Wild.
Oh, that's what we were thinking. But we're thinking this since, you know, especially from our markets, we get to talk to so many pet owners and we get to hear about, like, some of them on hydrolyzed diets, and we cannot, those are hard for us to be able to do anything with because that's a very special diet. But so many dogs are coming up with, I think it's just some of the different breeds that we're seeing and just kind of where they're coming from. So we're being able to provide something for them. But even without saying we're just specialty treats for special dogs with special diets, we're treating, you know, dogs with whole food ingredients, just like what we want to eat. The same thing you see that's advertised no matter where you go to any nutritionist, they're going to say, eat whole, eat healthy. You start with your gut health. And we found it very interesting that you've got more receptors going from your gut to your brain than your brain to any other part of your body, just showing that our gut really does do so much for us. And so many things in our dogs as well. And I think the more that we're seeing more pet owners and pet parents rather than, you know, people having kids, we're having those same mentalities of like, this is my kid. I care about them in a totally different way. My grandparents, man, their dogs stayed outside. That's where they were supposed to be. You know, you feed them inside, but hey, those little flea-laden things, they stay outside, right? They don't get on the couch. Ours sleep in our bed with us. And I'm just like, you know, like, how did you sleep last night? I'm like, oh, my neck hurts, you know, like to move the dogs. I'm like, well, they were comfortable, you know? So we're those crazy people. But
I don't think you're that crazy. I don't think you're that crazy. The number of people that, you know, I've got friends who are hunters who have their hunting dogs, which are pretty much outside dogs. But I would say nearly 100% of everyone else that I know that has a dog, that dog is a integral part of the family, you know. And because my thing is, if your dog is always just dog or the dog, then maybe you have the capacity to treat them in that hierarchical level of I'm on 2 legs, I have opposable thumbs, and you're on 4, so you're beneath me. But other than that, as soon as you give the dog a name, they become part of the family, and you view them as such, and you treat them as such. We had dogs before we had our sons, and I mean, they went everywhere with us. All of you look at our photo albums, and the dogs are there part of it the whole way through. And so, and I agree with you. If the dog is comfortable, then there's peace.
Right.
Yes.
I'm not going to disturb the dog. And the dog is the first one to wake you up with morning dog breath. Like, oh, horrendous. But, go back and do it again the very next day.
Oh, yeah.
Not a problem. So, what did you say? The specialized diet? Oh, are your treats doggy universal? Or because you talked about breeds, and there's a lot of this golden doodle, shapoopy, whatever, all these names they come up with. I'm like, okay, so how do I dissect exactly what your dog is? Back in the uncultured, unscientific days, they were a mutt, right? Heinz 57 ketchup sort of dog. But now, they're like, well, if we take this and that and we come together with this dog, and you get all these benefits, all those other things. Like, man, that's amazing. Are there dietary restrictions with these new hybrids, and are there dietary restrictions when it comes to which dogs get to enjoy the Ghirardelli bonbon of dog treats that you produce?
Then we're going to put that on our website, Ghirardelli bonbons. Let's write that one down.
That's right. Canine Ghirardelli bonbons.
There you go. Honestly, what we're finding is more of your purebred dogs do have more dietary restrictions, which is one of the reasons we wanted single source proteins. And that was something that, thankfully, when we were working with our peers and our veterinarians and the nutritionists, they were like, make sure you do X, Y, and Z. And the biggest one was separating your proteins. Most dogs are, your highest ones are actually chicken, number 1, beef, number 2.
That's human. That's all on the human macro scale.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it's almost everything. You go to the dog market and you look at most of the kibble. Kibble has some kind of a chicken meal in it, or even the treats have some kind of a chicken meal or an after product in it. So, there's no doubt that most of them are allergic to that. So that's one of the reasons we wanted to put pork and egg. And so we're just learning a lot through this. I mean, we're becoming so educated on this as well. And there's so much, just like human nutrition, there's new information all the time. So you have to stay ahead of it. And which is why actually Greg is going through and getting his pet nutrition certification to even further our information as well. So we are being responsible as business owners and as pet owners and pet parents too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, pet nutrition certification.
Yes, canine and feline pet nutrition certification through Southern Illinois University.
Oh, how about that? that's. And so does that mean at some point you're going to be Dr. Greg Harper?
I wouldn't know about a doctor. Hopefully I don't
or
go
PhD
down.
level,
I was sure that I was going to start at a master's, and then from that on, we'll just see how it goes.
That's right.
Yes. So yes, we're learning so much that we were able to develop on our new recipes coming out, even fine tune them even further. And eventually, once I am completed, then phase 2 is to come out with an actual food line where I would be able to treat a number of pets with their just nutritionally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I never looked into the golden doodle, how you make a golden doodle happen. Obviously there's man level intervention in there. But do they do it like with the prize winning steer, that they just basically stud out and basically, create additional prize winning steers with them? But with dogs, is there, in the total cycle of hybrid animals, hybrid dogs, we're not really that far in. What does that look like the further down the road that we go? And that's something that you obviously have to address as you go along. Okay, so when it comes to your treats, you said they're treats. They are not meal replacements.
They're not.
This is not the equivalent of getting a Weight Watchers bar, which replaces a meal.
Yep. No.
So definitely. But would someone's dog suffer if they had a primarily Sweet Licks Barkery diet?
Well, you're not going to get the problem is in any diet there's a lot of additional nutrition, such as even if we make our own food, right? So which we do, But there's a vitamin supplement that we put on it. There's an omega-3 supplement that we put on it. There's calcium that we've added back into it. So those are all those vitamins that you do see in your kibble or your store-bought. And so even as owners, we're putting those back into that. The treats itself, you're having your primary food sources that are coming from your protein, your veggie, your fruit, and your superfoods. And all of them, we're putting pumpkin in. Our newest ones, we are taking out the yogurt, which is the dairy. So we're adding other superfoods to make sure that we can create more of a balanced treat. So what you see a lot right now is a single source treats. You're seeing a lot of bones, feet, even fish, single source treats, things of that nature. We're trying to, and those are great. And I think we need the bigger treats. I mean, heck, you've got Great Danes and they're like, one bite's going to take your whole package. And I'm like, totally
variety.
get it.
Yes.
You have to have a variety. But what we also know is the tracheas, they're great chew bones, but they're also very high in fat. You can't give it to them all throughout the day.
Yep.
The tendons are great, but you can't give it to a small dog all throughout the day. Our oldest customer was the coolest thing. So we're at one of our markets and they've got this crate and their little dog comes and they pull their dog out and they're like, if she'll try it, she never eats anything. 20-year-old terrier mix and had a handful of teeth in there and she ate our treats. And the lady she's just like, oh, my baby has treats to eat. And that's why we do it, right? It's just we get to give back to those kind of dogs. And then we had a little baby come and I mean, gosh, it was less than a year old, 6 months maybe. Cutest little breed and allergic to everything out of the womb.
Mm-hmm.
It couldn't even get around grass. And so she's
Really?
like, oh, yeah, I can't have anything with chicken. I can't have anything with beef. We can do eggs. I think we can do eggs, and just absolutely loved it. And it was small enough to meet those treats, but we have a big dog. We have small dogs. It's great for all life stages, whether it be for young or for old dogs, or seasoned. It's just, and that's what we wanted to make. That's why we didn't do dehydration. So
Yes.
Lucy is one of our OGs, and she's got little teeth in the front. Every time we take her to the vet and she gets her teeth cleaned, they want to take more teeth out. I'm like, stop taking her teeth. But we wanted to find something delicate enough that I can give throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we went with freeze drying too. It holds in that nutrition and the nutrient value. It's not heating it a high up. So all of the contents that we're cooking, those superfoods, are not being heated back out of that. So that's another thing that we always think about is if we're doing this, if we put heat to it, is it going to work? Are we? So most of ours, we're not going to talk about vitamin C because vitamin C is killed with heat. So the mangoes and things of that, which are great for a lot of those vitamins. We have
Dogs eat mango?
They do.
So
They
if I have a
can.
mango slice and I offer it to a dog, they'll eat it.
Some of them will. It's great for collagen building as well. But the problem is when you heat it, that vitamin C just goes out the door.
You cook out everything. Same thing with, I know with vegetables, I keep on hearing, you should have your vegetables raw. And I'm like, raw broccoli is not enjoyable.
Well, yeah. Well, your cruciferous vegetables, if you give them to your dogs raw, it can get really gassy. So we do steam them all. Everything we do, we cook for peace of mind. So what we don't realize is when we're giving dogs raw meat, and this is something we learned when we were going through IVF, they give you all the rules, like don't eat meat,
yes.
don't eat Caesar salad, don't eat lunch meat, don't give anything that's going to give you listeria, don't touch raw dog treats. And that kind of stuck with me, like raw dog treats. What are we talking about? Why am I'm not going to be eating them. And it's just the little things like the sweat on our hands. You've got pregnant mothers or kiddos that put their hands in it. They give a raw dog treat to a kiddo. They put their hands in their mouth. They touch it. Those pathogens never go away. Dogs can handle it, but the pathogens stay in their mouth. And so when they do lick us and when they do things like that, we're just mitigating that risk. We're not saying gloom and doom, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're just trying to mitigate it.
Dogs can handle it. The humans can't.
Yeah. Yeah. So
those things stuck with us over the time. So all these little things, we're checking the boxes. We're like, okay, can we do this and this and this? And one of our new lines is thinking about even with anxiety. We hear a lot of dogs with anxiety, and we're thinking of adding some lavender into some of our treats or German chamomile. They can have that. It's great. So
really,
yeah,
that's interesting. The I do believe that dog is man's best friend. I mean,
they really are.
Well, some of them are. Some are very loyal. Some are very faithful, and some have the loyalty of a cat. Basically, I will allow you to pet me, and when I'm done with you, don't touch me, don't bother me.
Oh, yeah.
But for the most part, I do believe that about dogs truly being the most outside of man, woman, husband, wife.
Yeah.
That dog is such a great life companion. So why wouldn't you? Okay, so do you have a commercial facility, or is this all straight out of your house?
So we have two. We have one that we produce them out of our home, and we have a freeze dryer in our home. But we also have a large commercial freeze dryer at a property out in Greenville as well. Mm-hmm. So thankfully that we do have family that has really supported us through all of this. So they have some land. We put a building out there. Our next stage is definitely to get a bigger facility so we can have additional freeze dryers. For right now, we have a little bit of a bottleneck with manually producing these. So
sure.
We literally so all of our treats are heart shaped because we want it to be visually appealing as well.
Yes.
And so we call it squeezing. It's our hand workout. And we literally squeezy we have 7,500 treats in every load, and that's a small load. And we are literally squeezing each one into a mold. And
do you have staff, or is it just the two of you?
That is
right,
left, and left.
Lefty and Poncho. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So your long-term plan is to have a facility where these are cranked out, at more at the mass production level and not at the, because eventually those arms are going to get tired at some point.
Absolutely. Thunder and lightning are already getting tired.
That's too funny. That's too funny. So are you both, roll up our sleeves and your production line, or is that primarily you and Shoanette is doing the admin marketing stuff? Because, why don't you turn up on Wednesdays at Lynx?
Oh, I do. Here recently, it's been busy. We've had
you weren't
to.
there yesterday.
Correct. Well,
just saying.
Owning a small business, sometimes you have to divide and conquer when you have the opportunity to. And so that's what I had to do this last week, these past few Lynx meetings.
Mm-hmm.
But we both do production.
Yes.
So he's usually doing a lot of the mixing. We grind our own meat, and it goes back into mitigating again, because most of your grinders, that's where you're getting listeria, mixing of the meats. And so we want to make sure that we can sanitize and clean after each one. And then usually we'll just get everything, we'll get some good music cranking, and we just squeezy on, and we'll get them going.
Get your squeezy
Get your squeezy on.
So what is playing on the assembly line at Sweet Licks? Metallica.
Oh, depends on the mood, the day. Yeah, we've got anything from heavy metal to swing music to 90s rock to just
old
soulful rock.
Yeah. It's like it's got to be something that's high energy.
Anything but country. I'll be honest.
Anything but country. You live in Texas, right?
No, that's the one thing we don't put on. We'll do like a little country rock sometimes, but nothing too.
I missed that. That's the Sicilian kicked that gene out at birth.
Yeah, you say kicked. You've neutered that for the sanity of our audience here, because we know you're Sicilians. We know you're Sicilians.
Well, we're feisty together too, because I tell you, it's been fun. Both of us being only children and doing a business together and really staying in our own lanes. Mm-hmm. That's been, learning. We're always learning how to communicate better every single day. We're like, okay, today's a new day. We can only do better. Today's a new day. We're going to learn to do better today. And I'm definitely, you can tell I like to talk a lot, but it's
I
something.
wouldn't have guessed.
Never.
Would you have said that? Greg would not have testified to that, right?
It was the first qualification on when I was going to marry her. She had to be able to speak.
But we've got the Sicilian in him, and I'm German Irish, so it's just like you gotta battle in the kitchen of who's going to win the fight, right? So, but no, after 26 years, we're still just fighting the good fight and still having fun along the way. It is high energy though. We've got to turn that music on pretty loud and just go for it. Mm-hmm. It's like in Rocky IV, no pain.
That's right. Who was he fighting in Rocky IV? Was that?
Oh, that was Dolph Lundgren. That was
that was Go For It. The Go For It movie.
Yeah.
I must break you. Go for it. Go for it.
Gotta love a good underdog story.
That's right. That was Rocky IV, not Rocky III?
That was IV.
Okay.
3, I think, was Mr. T.
Okay. And 2 was the do-over with Apollo Creed.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. And so 5 must have been against Tommy, That's in the Rocky franchise really.
That was the one that they shouldn't have made.
Yeah, kind of collapsing.
Yeah.
Kind of collapsing on there. Man, so, the Sweet Licks Barkery, you're currently only on the dog side of things, but you realize that there's some goodness out there for cats.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
are you going to expand out from that to other fishery or...
Probably not into fish.
Aviary or...
Oh, that's a whole nother line for sure. But definitely getting the fur babies. We did have someone ask us if they were good for hamsters. We just don't know a lot about hamsters, but we definitely, I mean, with our first kiddo being a cat, my mom's got 2 cats. We can't leave them out. We actually thought, and this is just the evolution and realizing and the vulnerability and being honest with ourselves too, of coming to the table and saying, okay, we made this line of treats. Our first line actually says good for dogs and cats. And before we went out to production, we were doing some more research and we contacted someone else and they were like, wait, what kind of parsley do you put in there? They're like flat leaf. And like, oh, that's not good for cats. You can't actually use this. So we actually took that branding off. We took everything on our website off about it.
Yes.
So that's when we're always doing our due diligence. We're always making sure, because the last thing we want to do to someone's family, right? And then our egg treat has cinnamon in it, and Ceylon cinnamon, and that can build up over time. Now, none of these are going to, take one treat, a bag of treats. It's something over time. It'd be a gross amount, but at the same note, we're just trying to make sure we're being responsible at the same time.
Oh, that's good, you know, because I mean, the last thing you want, when we had dogs, I remember that we were, what was the company? Science Diet, Hill's Science Diet. Yeah. Yes. That was the food that, we absolutely, our dogs will have nothing but Hill's Science Diet. And someone, I can't remember who it was, but I remember he goes like, "Oh, you mean Science Death?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And, he started spitting off something about the company or the composition of the foods. And I was like, man, I don't know if this is good for our dogs. And, and just the concern that something could be wrong. I'm allowing my dog to ingest something. And I don't know how many years we had dogs before someone said that they shouldn't have chocolate.
No.
And I was like, why? I said, it'll kill him. And I was like, have I let my dog have chocolate? I don't know, So, but obviously they didn't die. They didn't die, of that. So I was thankful for, to have not had to suffer through that. But no, I love that you are not just resting on your laurels for a completed product, but that you're still making sure that even if it's part of our initial offering, that it still meets current standards. And have you had to complete so you pulled the good for cats off of there. Have you ever had to retract a treat altogether?
Not yet. We didn't actually go live into a market yet. This was just our last scrub. Always doing a last scrub. I think even in my history of working in business, and before you go to the client, before you go to the board meeting, right? Yes. You have that, let's look over my deck one last time. What am I going to say? Let's practice.
What did we miss?
Exactly. What did we miss? And we're always asking ourselves those questions. We're always like, oh yes, we're great in this and that, but you always have to say, what am I missing? What did we not do? A person in my life told me one time, they're like, Shoanette, never call this your baby. And I'm like, because I'd always say, this is my baby, right? And I'm like, why not? She's like, because you'll never want to call your baby ugly. I'm like, oh, that was like the best advice. And it stuck with me.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, this is good. So I'm always being more objective rather than defending it.
Sure.
It's like, yes, I know it's great because of this. We've done this. We've done the research. We've unturned it. And listen, there may be more to learn, and I'm good with that. But what I do know is we're solid where we're at. Until there's more information, then we're good. And that's what we're always doing. We're being very objective. We're being very curious. What's next, and trying to stay ahead of that.
Continuous improvement.
There you go. And so your dogs are part of the quality control. So when you have concept ideas, do you just put them in front of them and see if they bite?
No,
absolutely.
They definitely love that side of it. And packaging day. We keep everything sanitary and closed off, so no dogs come in our area. But they always know they get extra treats. They know that's the day that they get more. But what we do is we go to public. So just like when we started where we're at. People that we work with, people that we know in our family and friends, other business owners. We're constantly saying, hey, here's the list of ingredients. Let us know. We have a mailing list now and we have actually subscription boxes. So when we have new vendors, new products, we'll send it out to our customers so they can try them when we can get some feedback as well. And they're very honest.
So what you're saying is you're taking the crack dealer approach. Hey, try this, try this. And
if it works for them,
that's right. First one,
hopefully it works for us.
First one's on me, next one's on you.
There you go. We'll get you hooked.
Right.
You'll be addicted ever since.
Right. Have your quality control crew ever said this is a fail, or this is not really being received well by the masses?
Not from our kiddos, but we've seen it coming from other ones, and we're totally fine with that. And that's what we're all about. We're not going to be for everybody. We've actually got to farmers markets, and 3 out of the 4 treats they will not like. There's usually one, I will say. There's a handful that just will not try any of them. But what we also find is when like our kiddos won't take anything in public. And so they're very highly reactive. You can go to even if it's...
Your dogs have social anxiety.
They do.
I don't want anyone to see me eating.
Yeah,
they might think I'm fat.
Well, right. Gotta watch the figure. Well, like our Deffy, she's so overwhelmed with her environment. So she's constantly looking around. And so the adrenals start up.
She can't think
she's
about
always
eating.
In fight or flight,
That's
right? So she's not going to think about taking a treat. You can give her a hot dog and she's like, no. I always say our dogs are not the most well-behaved because they're not really food motivated outside. So every trainer that we've worked with, they're like, give them peanut butter. Well, our dogs snub at peanut butter, so we knew we could not do a peanut butter treat. I'm like, what dog does not like peanut butter?
Does not freeze-dry
Even natural peanut butter.
That's
I'm
right.
like, can't give them that. So just like,
commoners' food.
God, can't do that. Those are just peanuts.
Right, yes.
So I need to have the caviar. But no, and that's one of the things that we also wanted to make sure of is that we made it affordable for everybody. You go to boutiques and it's expensive.
Yes.
Sure. We talk about organic, we talk about premium, and we're like, oh yeah, at what price? And that's the first thing that we don't want people to say. We wanted to make it to where it can be in everybody's home. And hence the reason we're doing farmers markets. We offer small bags. We give out samples all the time because we're like, listen, if you like it, call us back. If you don't like it, bring it back to me. I want you to be happy. And I think that's the biggest thing for us is that satisfaction aspect of it.
So you're taking like the Costco approach now. Where they've got all the samples out.
Exactly. We do. And everyone, you should see people because they see Barkery or Bakery. Yeah. And you'll see people kind of looking at those. And I'm thinking, oh, it's probably not for you unless you have some like fur babies at home. Right. But he'll put an egg one in his mouth. They won't be, those are the ones that aren't too bad because they have a good strong cinnamon flavor. But like I said, we've tried them all. They're just bland.
Yeah. Well, I have to say that, when we were in, dog dad and dog mom phase that, I never had a hankering for the dog food. And I never had let me correct this. I never had a hankering for any dog food, dog treat, whatever. But what I did notice with the dogs were that they really responded to the treats. And so we had the milk bones. And boy, they would do everything. I had to watch them salivate over those things. And, and I gave it the sniff test versus the dog food. I'm like, these smell like the same exact thing to me, except the dog food had a little bit of an oily feature to it, where the milk bone was more like, the dog biscuit, a very dry, dense cookie scone sort of thing. So I did sample a little corner of one. I was like, it tasted like cardboard, but to them it was magic. And then when they came out with the bacon strips, which were just, synthetic bacon shaped like bacon.
Yep.
I never tried it, but I was like, these things are too expensive.
Yeah.
But the dogs lined up for those.
They do.
And they kind of got a little, hoity-toity about it, because when you're like, you want a treat? And they'd come over to the pantry and I'd pull out the box with the milk bones. They're like, oh, I think I see something, you starting to walk off, but you start rattling the bacon strips, plastic bag. And they were like, oh, I'm in,
They know.
Like, command me, tell me to do something, or I'll just sit here, maybe just feed me. But this seems to me that with your Sweet Licks, I think the dogs, come lining up for that thing, right?
Oh, they do.
Because they know that's the good stuff. And it's, the fact that it's whole foods and human grade. That's probably the, I think the greatest comfort or reassurance to somebody who's looking at, what do I get as a treat for my pet? Not a meal replacement, right? Not a meal replacement.
Not yet.
But a treat. Not yet. So you're gonna keep on fine tuning that thing?
Well, we'll keep fine tuning it. I say not yet. We'll be offering our next line is wanting to, once he finishes his degree, we want to offer a kind of a customizable meal, because one of the we cook our food for our kiddos, and it's a process. And we know, like with our aging parents as well, it's really a process for them, and they still want the same benefits for their 3 dogs.
Sure.
But it is like, getting a it's like,
a couple of times a week.
We're making
Yes.
like 10 pounds of food for these kids. And if you're not going to do it every single day, it's a lot of work.
Absolutely.
And then customizing it. And so everybody wants to do all these things, but then you look at the time behind it. You're barely, think about people with human kids and school activities.
Yes.
And you're like, and you want me to do what for my dogs? You're like, yeah, I just need something quick and something easy. So doing something really customizable and being able to say, hey, pick your protein, pick your veggie, pick your superfood. And then that way we can hopefully work with those sensitive guts too, especially in our local area.
Mm-hmm. And so you have no plans of opening up like a McDonald's for pets, right?
We would love to. I think it'd be awesome.
We come through and like a Big Mac and a whatever for
That'd be so much fun.
Fifi or Fido.
Oh man. We could do a little storefront. We were thinking, who was the Lean Meals?
Lean Kitchen.
Lean Kitchen.
Yeah, Chris and
I was
Gina.
like, we could do something like that for dogs, and I think that's just great. You can come pick it up and get your lean meals for your pups for the week and ready to go.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm looking at the timer. We're about tapped out here on time. When it comes to your treats, do they have a short shelf life or a long shelf life?
They have a pretty good shelf life. So unopened, they are completely freeze dried, so they're going to last for a couple years. So hopefully you use them before then. But I guess we always say if we need food in the apocalypse, we've got a lot.
We're set for now.
We'll just put a little water in there. But once you open them, the nice thing is they're, as long as you keep them out of the refrigerator, keep them in their bags because they're rated for freeze dried. Just close it up. They've got a little packet in there for it. They're going to last you for 4 and 5 months, if not longer.
Okay, excellent. All right, so final question. Who would win in a fight between a giant polar bear, 12 feet tall, and a great white shark, 18 feet long? They're having a fight to the death in a body of water that's 6 feet deep. There's no shallow end. There's no sandbar. There's no getting out of the water. It happens in the water. Who wins that fight? What say you, Greg?
I say the polar bear.
The polar bear. And you?
Just to be opposite, I'm going to have to say the shark, but I'm thinking a great white anyway.
Yeah.
I would say great white.
Okay, so why do you say the polar bear?
Polar bear can add more dexterity, can move around.
Okay.
Great white, it can only move its head so around. So as long as he can stay out of the jaw bite, he can get him.
All right.
Come around from
Good
behind.
reasoning. All right. For you?
I'm going exactly for the fact that they have all those teeth and that jaw bite is so strong. And not only that, you can take it even deeper. So once he's got a bite on it, he's going to go down deep. That polar bear's not coming back up.
All right. Well, there's no right answer, no wrong answer. We're always just curious. That's our, like kind of our curveball that we threw there at the end. But this is Greg and Shoanette Harper with Sweet Licks Barkery. What's the best way for someone to find out more? How do they get in contact with you?
Definitely. So you can get on our website at www.slbarkery.com, or you can follow us at slbarkery as well. We're both on Insta and Facebook as well. So, and our contact information is on there. So you can even reach out and email us at pausup at www.pausup@slbarkery.com.
All righty. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the show, and thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you for the next episode of the McKinney Podcast.
Thanks again for listening to and watching the McKinney Podcast. We drop a brand new episode every Monday morning. We'd love to connect with you and hear your thoughts, suggestions, and guest recommendations. You can message us on Facebook or send an email to us at mail@mckinneypodcast.com. This entire production is a passion project for James and Fred and our lovely wives, Elizabeth and Allison. We're so grateful to have you along for the journey. We look forward to seeing you again next week and hopefully in person around town. That's all for now, ladies and gentlemen. Make it a great day.